Hello, my dear friends, and a very warm welcome to you. It's so good to have you with us today. As we journey through life, especially as we gracefully step past our 70th year, we become more attuned to many aspects of our health, don't we? We think about our diet, our heart, our bones, but have you ever stopped to consider the profound impact of something as seemingly simple as the shoes on your feet? It's an everyday item, something we might choose for style or convenience, or perhaps based on habits we've had for years. But I want to ask you today, could the shoes you wear be silently affecting your mobility, your comfort, and even the health of your hips? Imagine a typical day. You might be going for a gentle stroll in the park, pottering around in your garden, meeting friends for a cup of tea, or simply navigating your own home. In all these activities, your feet are your foundation, and your shoes are the interface between that foundation and the world. For those of us over 70, choosing the right footwear isn't just about fashion or fleeting comfort. It's a critical decision that can significantly influence our balance, prevent falls, and protect our joints, especially our hard-working hip joints. Today, we're going to talk about a crucial, often overlooked aspect of senior health, the types of shoes that, while perhaps once acceptable, could now be quietly, insidiously, crippling your hips. We'll explore 3 specific types of footwear that experts often caution against for seniors, and then we'll discuss how to choose shoes that will truly support your health and keep you moving with joy and confidence for many years to come. So, let's step into this important conversation together. As we get older, our bodies naturally change. Our feet are no exception. They can change in shape, size, and even in the natural cushioning they possess. What might have been a perfectly comfortable or harmless shoe in our younger years can become a source of problems later on. So, let's shine a light on 3 specific types of shoes that, according to many podiatrists and orthopedic specialists, are best avoided or worn with extreme caution after the age of 70. First on our list, and a very common sight, are ultra-thin flat shoes. I'm talking about those completely flat, often very flexible shoes, like some ballet flats, flimsy slip-ons, or very thin-soled sandals. They might seem appealing because they're lightweight, easy to slip on, and perhaps they even feel comfortable for short periods, almost like being barefoot. Many people believe that flat is good, but for mature feet, this can be a dangerous oversimplification. The primary issue with these ultra-thin flat shoes is their profound lack of support and cushioning. Our feet have natural arches that act like springs, absorbing shock and distributing our body weight evenly as we walk. These arches need support. Ultra-thin flat shoes offer virtually no arch support. This means that with every step, your arches can flatten excessively, putting strain on the plantar fascia, the band of tissue that runs along the bottom of your foot, leading to conditions like plantar fasciitis, which causes sharp heel pain. Furthermore, as we age, the natural fatty padding on the soles of our feet, particularly under the heel and the ball of the foot, tends to thin out. This is a normal physiological change. This fatty pad acts as a natural shock absorber. When you wear ultra-thin flat shoes that have minimal to no cushioning, you're essentially walking with very little protection between your bones and the hard ground. Every step sends more impact shock waves up your leg, from your ankles to your knees, and yes, all the way up to your hips and even your lower back. Imagine walking on concrete barefoot all day. That's somewhat analogous to what your joints experience in these flimsy shoes. The consistent lack of support and cushioning can lead to a host of foot problems: persistent foot pain, heel spurs, sore arches, and an acceleration of that fat pad atrophy. But it doesn't stop at the feet. When your feet are not properly supported and aligned, it throws off your entire body's biomechanics. Your gait can change as your body tries to compensate for the lack of shock absorption, and this altered gait places unnatural stress on your ankle, knee, and critically, your hip joints. Over time, this can contribute to increased wear and tear on the cartilage in these joints, potentially leading to or exacerbating arthritis. So, while they might look harmless, these ultra-thin flats can indeed be an invisible killer for your foot health and, by extension, your hip health. Next up, let's talk about a summertime staple for many: flip-flops. Oh, the ease of flip-flops. So easy to slip on for a quick trip to the garden or to wear around the house. They feel freeing, don't they? But behind that casual comfort lurks a surprising number of potential hazards, especially for seniors. One of the biggest problems with traditional flip-flops is how they force you to walk. Because there's nothing holding your heel in place, you have to actively grip the thong of the flip-flop with your toes to keep them on your feet with every step. This constant toe-clenching action is unnatural. It can lead to strain in the muscles and tendons of your feet and toes, and over time it can contribute to the development or worsening of conditions like hammer toes or bunions, hallux valgus. A bunion, that bony bump at the base of the big toe, can be incredibly painful and can further alter your gait, putting even more stress on other joints as you try to walk without aggravating the pain. Beyond the toe gripping issue, most traditional flip-flops share many of the same downsides as ultra-thin flat shoes. They typically have very thin soles with little to no arch support and virtually no shock absorption. Again, this means your feet, ankles, knees, and hips are subjected to increased impact forces with every step on hard surfaces. The lack of support can also lead to overpronation, where the foot rolls inward excessively, which can misalign the leg and hip, causing strain and pain. Furthermore, flip-flops offer absolutely no protection for your feet. It's easy to stub your toes, and the open design leaves your feet vulnerable to cuts, scrapes, or falling objects. They also provide no lateral stability, making you more prone to ankle sprains if you step on uneven ground. And importantly for seniors, the risk of tripping and falling is significantly higher in flip-flops because they can easily catch on things or slip off your feet. A fall can have devastating consequences for an older adult, with hip fractures being a particularly serious concern. So while flip-flops might seem convenient for very short, specific uses, like at the poolside or in a public shower, they are generally not a good choice for regular walking or extended wear, especially if you value the health of your feet and hips. That seemingly innocent slap-slap sound they make could be a warning signal for your joints. The third type of shoe we need to be cautious about after 70 is the stiff leather shoe. Now, this might seem counterintuitive to some. Traditionally, sturdy leather shoes were often seen as a sign of quality and durability, and for some purposes, they can be. However, when we talk about very stiff, unyielding leather shoes, especially those that haven't been properly broken in or are not well suited to the changing shape of an older adult's foot, they can present a dual dilemma of foot abrasion and increased joint pressure. As we age, our feet can change. They might widen, arches might fall slightly, and conditions like bunions or hammer toes can alter the foot's overall shape. Stiff, unyielding leather doesn't easily conform to these changes. This can lead to painful rubbing and pressure points, causing blisters, corns, and calluses. If the leather is very hard, it can feel like your foot is encased in a rigid box, which is far from comfortable. Moreover, many traditional stiff leather shoes, particularly some formal styles or older designs, may lack adequate cushioning and flexibility in the sole. A very rigid sole prevents the foot from moving through its natural range of motion during walking. This can alter your gait, forcing other parts of your body, including your knees and hips, to compensate for the lack of natural foot flexion. Imagine trying to walk with a board strapped to the bottom of your foot. Your leg and hip would have to move very differently. The poor wrapping or fit of some stiff shoes means they might not hold the foot securely, or conversely, they might be too tight in certain areas. And breathability can also be an issue with some types of treated stiff leather, potentially leading to sweaty feet and an increased risk of fungal infections, especially if you're wearing them for long periods. When it comes to hip health, the combination of a poor fit, causing you to alter your gait to avoid pain from rubbing, and a rigid sole, forcing unnatural movement patterns, means that the forces transmitted up your leg are not being managed optimally. This can lead to increased stress and strain on the hip joint. If the shoe is also heavy, which some sturdy leather shoes can be, it adds to the muscular effort required for walking, potentially fatiguing the muscles that support the hip. So while a well-made, well-fitted and appropriately flexible leather shoe can be a good choice, those very stiff, unforgiving varieties are often best left on the shelf for seniors. Now that we've identified these three types of shoes to be wary of, let's delve deeper into exactly how unsuitable footwear can wreak havoc on our hip joints. It's not always a direct, obvious injury. Often it's a slow, cumulative process, with the shoes you wear day in and day out subtly undermining the health of these crucial joints. One of the primary ways ill-fitting or unsupportive shoes damage your hips is by altering your body's natural alignment and forcing your joints into compensatory work. Our body is an amazing interconnected system, often referred to as a kinetic chain. What happens at your feet has a direct ripple effect all the way up your legs, to your hips, your back, and even your neck and shoulders. Your feet are the foundation. If that foundation is unstable or improperly supported, everything above it has to adjust. When you wear shoes that lack proper arch support, like those ultra-thin flats or flimsy flip-flops, your arches can collapse or your feet can overpronate, roll inward too much. This changes the angle at which your foot strikes the ground and how your ankle joint functions. Your ankle then tries to compensate for this instability. This, in turn, affects the alignment of your shin bone, tibia, which then influences your knee joint. Your knee joint might have to work harder or move in a slightly unnatural way to try and maintain balance and forward motion. And where does that compensatory stress go next? You guessed it, right up to your hip joint. Your hip joint, which is a large ball and socket joint designed for a wide range of motion and significant weight bearing, is forced to adjust to these misalignments coming from below. It might have to rotate slightly differently or bear weight unevenly. Muscles around the hip might have to tense up or work harder than they should to try and stabilize your pelvis and leg. Over time, these joints, ankle, knee, and hip, are no longer operating in their optimal biomechanically correct positions. This leads to uneven wear and tear on the cartilage, that smooth protective lining within the joints. Think of it like driving a car with wheels that are out of alignment. The tires will wear out unevenly and much faster, and the car won't handle as well. Similarly, when your joints are consistently out of their ideal alignment due to poor footwear, they are subjected to abnormal stresses, increasing the risk of degeneration, pain, and conditions like osteoarthritis. The second major way unsuitable shoes harm your hips is by increasing the burden on the joint and triggering inflammation. Shoes that lack adequate cushioning, like those thin flats and flip-flops, or even very rigid, hard-soled shoes, do a poor job of absorbing the impact forces that are generated every time your foot hits the ground. This is especially true when walking on hard, unforgiving surfaces like concrete or tile floors. These shockwaves travel directly up your leg. Your ankle and knee joints might absorb some of it, but a significant portion reaches your hip joint. Your hip, already a major weight-bearing joint, is now subjected to even greater repetitive stress. This chronic excessive pressure and impact can lead to several problems. It can cause micro-trauma to the soft tissues around the hip joint, the muscles, tendons, and ligaments that support and move the hip. These tissues can become strained, overused, and inflamed. You might experience conditions like hip bursitis, which is an inflammation of the small fluid-filled sacs, bursae, that cushion the bones and tendons near your hip, leading to pain on the outside of your hip. Or you might develop tendinitis, an inflammation of the tendons. This constant stress and microtrauma can also compromise blood circulation to the area. Healthy blood flow is essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients to the tissues and for carrying away waste products. Impaired circulation can slow down healing processes and contribute to a chronic inflammatory state within and around the hip joint. Over the long term, this increased burden and chronic inflammation can accelerate the degeneration of the cartilage in the hip joint, leading to osteoarthritis of the hip. Hip arthritis is characterized by pain, often felt in the groin, outer thigh, or buttock, stiffness, especially in the morning or after periods of inactivity, a grinding or clicking sensation in the hip, and a reduced range of motion. These symptoms can significantly impact your ability to walk, climb stairs, get in and out of a chair, and perform everyday activities, drastically reducing your quality of life. So, the shoes you choose are not just about foot comfort. They are about preserving the health and function of your vital hip joints. This might all sound a bit daunting, but please don't feel disheartened. The wonderful news is that knowledge is power, and by understanding these risks, we can make much better choices to protect ourselves. Choosing the right shoes is one of the most proactive and impactful steps you can take to safeguard your foot health, your hip health, and your overall mobility as you age. So, let's talk about what makes a shoe a good choice for those of us over 70. There are several key features to look for when selecting footwear. Think of this as your checklist for happy, healthy feet and hips. Proper fit is paramount. This is non-negotiable. Shoes that are too tight can cause a myriad of problems, from blisters and bunions to poor circulation. Shoes that are too loose can lead to instability and increase the risk of falls. Remember that foot size and shape can change with age, often becoming wider or longer, and one foot might be slightly larger than the other. Always have your feet measured when buying new shoes, preferably at the end of the day when your feet are likely to be at their largest due to natural swelling. Ensure there's about ½ an inch of space, a thumb's width, between your longest toe and the end of the shoe. The toe box should be deep and wide enough to allow your toes to wiggle freely without being cramped. The heel should fit snugly without slipping. Breathable and flexible materials. Look for shoes made from materials that allow your feet to breathe, like soft leather, canvas, or modern mesh fabrics. Good breathability helps to prevent moisture buildup, which can lead to fungal infections or skin irritation. The upper part of the shoe should also be flexible enough to move with your foot, rather than restricting its natural motion. Non-slip, wear-resistant soles with good cushioning. This is absolutely critical for preventing falls, which can be catastrophic for seniors. The outsole should be made of a durable material like rubber and have a good tread pattern that provides traction on various surfaces, both indoors and outdoors. The midsole, which is between the outsole and your foot, is where the cushioning happens. Look for shoes with ample, shock-absorbing cushioning to protect your joints from impact. However, avoid shoes with excessively thick, overly soft soles, as these can sometimes lead to instability. It's about finding a good balance. Adequate support, but not rigidity. Your shoes should provide good support for your arches and cradle your heel. Proper arch support helps to maintain foot alignment and reduce strain. A firm heel counter, the part of the shoe that cups your heel, can help to control pronation and provide stability. While support is important, the shoe should still allow for some natural foot movement. It shouldn't be completely rigid like a ski boot unless prescribed for a specific medical reason. Lightweight design. Heavy, clunky shoes can cause leg fatigue and make walking more of an effort. Opt for shoes that are as lightweight as possible while still providing the necessary support and cushioning. Easy and secure fastening. For many seniors, dexterity can be a concern. Shoes with Velcro straps or elastic laces are often much easier to put on, take off and adjust for a secure fit compared to traditional shoelaces or complex buckles. A secure fastening is vital to prevent the shoe from slipping and to ensure it stays properly on your foot.